Or staying with Daybreak, the discussion starts right now. This is a show where we give the young leaders a chance to speak out and air their views on various issues nationally and locally as well, on politics and everything in between there. My guest already in studio. We'd like to hear from you, mostly at Trevor Mbija at Citizen TV Kenya. Use the hashtag Daybreak. We'll speak about everything, matters, politics and everything in between there. My guest already with me here, Njeri Kahiga. She's a youth leader. Thank you for making time.
Thank you.
Faith Ken is also here. She's a youth advocate. Asante sana for making time. Omondi Koyo, Secretary General, National Liberal Party, is here. Thank you very much for making time. And Kasmul Makoure, ODM Youth League. Asante sana for making time. Arnold Maliba sent in his apologies. He won't be able to make it this morning. He's a party leader, PPA, but he'll show up next time. We're still waiting for Dr. Baraza Derek, a KANU Youth Wing leader. As soon as he joins us in here, we'll give him a chance to also speak about these issues that we are about to address in just a short while. Now, let's start off with the front page of the Daily Nation. Mr. Moneybags, they say, is it charity? Question mark. DP Kithure Kindiki's whistle stop Harambee splashing millions of shillings have started debate on the opulence by politicians that triggered youth protests last year. Amid questions about the source of the huge donations, his lavishness rekindles his days as a senator and a member of the Sky team that hopped in choppers. They say almost 100 million shillings is what the deputy president has splashed, in excess of 100 million shillings in the past 2 months on various Harambees. 3 million on Boda in Embu, 5 million, and as his entourage contributed 16 million to Kigumo constituency, 15 million in Naivasha as well. And Jerry, I'll start with you on this. Is this empowerment or tokenism?
Thank you so much, Trevor. First, appreciate the fact that RMS has been one of the media stations that has been very key in allowing the young people to speak out on this issue of Kithure Kindiki, and not really him in particular, but everybody else in government, including his boss, is a show of a lot of opulence, first of all, and misplaced priorities, because as we talk of 100 million within 2 months, we are not talking about the fact that we are having a crisis of this 2025 financial year, whereby we have it that we are not even budgeted for our examinations. Then again, it brings the question of what about the other priorities when people go to hospital and SHA is supposed to pay and does not pay, but apparently there is no money. What about when people go on strike, the lecturers, teachers, doctors and everybody else, but there is no money to engage them at the table, but apparently there is money for empowerment programs. And I don't want to be regional in this conversation, but it sounds very badly when these empowerment are locked only in the mountain for some time. They leave the mountain sometimes, but every other time I'm at the mountain. Today they are going to be in my constituency, Daragwa constituency, and it begs the question, why would you come to bring empowerment money, yet the road that you are going to come past is a road that the people of Daragwa constituency have not used for some time, anytime it rains, because we don't even have roads there. There are people back in my constituency who are struggling with basic things like electricity. They have to walk miles and miles to get their phone charged. But then again, there is money today to give people to show up, to do empowerment. And as you have said, these donations, what are the strategic measures that have been put in place so that after one year we can do an audit and say the government has given 100 million 1 billion in empowerment programs, and these 100 billion has generated this much in our economy. What are the measures? Or we are just dishing out money as handouts, but now in bulk, in groups, you know? I think the government needs to sit down and realize that no amount of money you are going to give to people is going to change the fact that the basic things that should be budgeted for and allocated for are left out. And then again, the moment we see these offices during the budgeting, they are demanding for more money. You want to renovate State House, yet we have classrooms back in my constituencies that don't even have the basic setup of a classroom. So I think the government needs to be aware that these empowerment programs, people will take the money and go home, because back in mashinani when we ask them, they tell us, Njeri, hii pesa ni yetu, wametuibia, wameturudishia, wacha tukule, because even if tusipokula watapeleka Dubai, watapeleka everywhere else. So we need to work on how money is allocated around our budget, and let it be injected in the fundamental organs of these nations. Okay,
Omondi, you're all in these political cycles, and let's be practical here. So when you visit, say, your constituency, and there's a group of young people, youth, in a group, do you just speak to them and leave them there, or do you give them some money? And is that tokenism or is that empowerment?
Thank you, Trevor. First of all, thank you for having us here. And allow me also to take this opportunity to pass my message of condolences to my constituents in Kasipul for having lost their member of parliament in such a heinous manner. To go straight to what you are asking us. Number one, we have highly commercialized our politics. And it is a total embarrassment to see the person on the stage of the deputy president dishing millions of shillings, and probably it is not just 100 million shillings. I can guarantee you that it is more than 100 million shillings that they're dishing out to people thinking that they can change the perspective and the thinking of the Kenyan youth. Trevor, what can 100 million shillings do today in this Kenyan economy? With 100 million shillings, say that was the actual figure, we can be able to build a very modern hospital in our villages and reduce maternal deaths by close to 4.5%. But it seems the government has turned a deaf ear to the cries and the pleas of Kenyans, that to them all that they care about is how best can they dish out money that has been corruptly acquired, money that has been looted from our coffers, as they prepare themselves for the next general election. And as a party, we sell ideas and people subscribe to the thinking of transformation and the thinking of progressive ideas that we hold as a political party. We don't go into political gatherings giving people money so that they can listen to what we as a party stand for. But because of this bad culture that has been inculcated into our political system and the political architecture, you find that political leaders, especially those with political authority and power, have taken advantage of looting money from us, Kenyans, so that they can play politics from day one they are sworn into office until the next date of election. And we are actually calling upon President William Ruto. Please stop speaking from both ends of your mouth. It is you who stated that there shall be no more Harambes, and you cannot even tell Kenyans, where do these people get all this money that they are splashing in Harambes? Instead of you competing against the manifesto that you set for the Kenyan people, the better economic model, what do you call it, the bottom-up economic model, that you promised the Kenyan populace, you are busy roaming around the country, dishing out money that is not helping the people directly, but money that is only meant to wink Kenyans, that you are the Jesus that has come to save them.
Okay.
And as a result, we feel that it is high time the youth of this country must not be cowed. They must stand up and say enough is enough.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let me bring in Kasmuel on this. Kasmuel, and I keep asking this question because I know the functions that you guys are holding. Is it practical to believe that the leaders can go into these functions and not donate anything and the youth groups are there? Is that a practical approach? Or is this something we just say at boardroom discussion levels, but kwa ground vitu zinakuanga tofauti?
I think it is very possible for leaders to go to a particular function without having to tokenize what the function is about. And I say this as a person who has ventured into politics quite lately. And I'm saying this with full proof because I have seen that it is possible for us to sell a particular agenda. I'm saying this as a person who organized a rally last week and who's about to organize another one. If we can review, if I may, the affordable housing project that was launched in Mukuru yesterday. Those young men and women who are there, and you've seen a lot of them speak on social media to say that they were given tokens, or sometimes they will just take the tokens, but they know exactly what they're going to do when it gets to the ballot. And the reason why I say we ought not to tokenize development is it's made us lazy. All these young people, whenever they gather, they don't necessarily go there for the money. If you were to choose 500 shillings for a day or a house for the rest of your life, I'm pretty sure any sane Kenyan or otherwise would choose a house for the rest of their lives. But the politicians have reduced our development agenda. They've reduced what their role is to merely tokenizing the young people. And whenever we ask if it's possible for young people to, like for leaders to come into a particular constituency without having to dish out money, this is not a precedent that has been set by the citizens. Because even on a daily, the way we interact with each other is not from a begging perspective. We interact with each other from points of dignity. But we know that politicians have always behaved as swindlers. Therefore, when they come, this is the one time, because they will not pick your calls once they leave this place. They are not going to legislate on your behalf when they go back to Parliament, but they also want to have that contact with the ground. That is why the people from the ground always accept that money. But we have seen instances, and I'm saying this as a testament, where I have gone into communities and we have shared a youth agenda without having to spend a shilling. Now, it is another thing to be able to go into a community where you know that people are living below 100 shillings or below the poverty line. If you have resources that you can share with those people, I also believe that this should not be an excuse for people to go into communities, because, you know, by the time someone is engaging a community, they usually have a plan. Apart from, not everyone goes into the political sphere as a philanthropist. Therefore, if we decide that we will engage a community, I think it is unfair for us to mobilize resources and ensure that those resources don't get to the community. We could just do it in more dignified manners, but also institutionalize the basic dignity of our people, such that we don't hold our people hostage for things like flour or cooking oil or sanitary towels, which we always see people. We know very well that once it gets to Christmas, a politician is going to give out this. I'm not saying that these things are bad, but we cannot prioritize the giving, especially if you're in a legislative house, over a developmental agenda that will allow people to live within dignified means.
Okay. Faith, is this charity, tokenism, or empowerment?
So, Trevor, first, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. And as a young person, I feel so honored to speak on issues that affect us directly. So first, before going straight to the point, I want to make something straight, that I understand the frustration that the youth of this country have, and I understand the mistrust that they have developed towards the government. And also, I'm aware that every one of us, each one of us want a better country. We want better and good opportunities. But it can't come overnight. So straight to your question, you said, is it charity or tokenism? I don't see a problem if someone goes to the village and talk to the youth groups and give them something to support their groups. I think the mindset that we go with, because for you to come to a meeting, if someone organizes a meeting, for you to come there and listen to them, first of all, you're willingly there. You're not forced to be there. And I feel there's something that we ignore, Trevor, is the role of devolution, the county government. Where do we differentiate between the national government and the county government? Because if we could hold county governments accountable, I really feel we couldn't be here discussing this. Because for you to go back to, there are no roads, there are no drugs in our hospitals. Most of our hospitals actually are called level 4, but I think they are in the level of a dispensary. But who do we hold accountable? So I feel going to the villages or to the community to donate something or to give something to the youth is empowerment. It's a good thing, and we should encourage it. And Jerry said something that the focus is on Mount Kenya. I've seen them doing it in Nyanza. 2 weeks ago, they were in Nyatike. The MPs were there. The senators were there. They've also been in Uriri constituency. So it's something happening all over. So if it's a good thing, and our youth should actually embrace it. So what are we doing with this money? Because today they come in, they give 100,000 shillings as a youth group. What do you do with this money for yourself? You know, do you take it in form of a charity? Do you see it as a right? Or is it something that imekuja, let us take it? You know, so what is your intention with this money? What do you intend to achieve with it as a young person?
That is the fundamental question.
Yeah, that's a fundamental question.
Because, Njeri, even you will be on the ground and you are looking for a political seat. Are you saying that when you meet all those people, you'll only be speaking to them? And is that practical? I ask you this because I know how these things happen. Is it practical for you to call a youth group when they've told you that we are youth groups and we are dealing in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and even if you have some available resources, instead of even you giving them their 10,000 to go and find something, you say that I will then channel this money back to government? so that it's put in the budget. Is that a conversation you'd be willing to have with your constituents?
Trevor, first of all, to respond to my fellow youth here, I didn't say the focus is in Mount Kenya. I said where they are coming a lot of times. Because when you tell me the deputy president within a month or within a span of 6 weeks has been to 3 constituencies in my county, that's a deputy president. I don't think our constitution is a mandate of a deputy president in a normal and working country. It's normality for a deputy president to visit a constituency by constituency within a month, unless they are out there to ensure that they get there.
Nothing stops him, though.
Nothing stops him, but on the balance of balancing the whole country, a deputy president can't be in a county 4 times.
Yesterday he was speaking in Kisii. So
today he's going to be in Nyandarua County, Ndaragwa constituency.
So it's still okay.
And he has gone to Olkalau like less than 2 weeks ago. And all of these is bringing money, empowerment. And the same people who have been in those meetings will be the same ones in the other meeting. What I'm trying to say is, when we look at it from an empowerment point, it does not make a sense, because when you tell me that you'll be doing this thing in a whole county within a certain short period, you've not even told me the previous ones you've given, what profit have they made? What progress have they made? If it was for machineries or for them to buy equipment, have they come? Have they started doing the empowerment that they were intended to do? Back to your question, Trevor, on the fact that, yes, I am vying for women rep Nyandarua County. And I understand the frustrations of young people who are going for elective seats, me being one of them, because I understand every time we go to Mashinani, and the fact that you host me a lot of times on Citizen TV, they'll always be telling me that, huwezi kunaenda Citizen kila siku na una kakitu. But we tell them, when you see us trying to advocate for you in platforms like these platforms, it's not because of the money. We are not paid to be on such platforms. But allow us go there, champion for the young people's agenda. And when we come to a conversation, they understand that some of us are still ongoing students in university, and those of us who have completed, we have still not gotten into jobs. And it would be very unpractical for me, Trevor, to go take a loan, for me to go to Mashinani and give money, because what happens if I become the women rep of Nyandarua County? I'll first ensure the loans that I took that time, I pay them. And the conversation that I go tell them on the ground is very simple. Anytime you give money to you as a voter and you give me your vote, it's a business done. You give me your vote, I gave you money. There is no way you'll go to a shop today, pay money, pick a shoe, then afterwards come to claim for anything else. So I always ask them the conversation of, do you want to take the money, you give me your vote, or you want to listen to what I can bring on board, you want to listen to what I can do for you as a women rep. Then when I get into power, you are able to hold me to accountability. Some of the people that you see in Mashinani, cheering leaders that we know very well from a very sober perspective, are not doing anything in parliament, is because they lack the moral authority to question these people. Because you have had some members of parliament brag that you will never hear me in parliament talk, lakini mimi ni mkarabati huku nje nafanya kazi na watu wangu. These people are simply telling common wananchi, I am mandated to represent you in parliament, I am mandated to be a legislature, but because of your many problems, I am forced to be a government dealer for me to sustain these empowerment programs, for me to sustain these arrangements of money, tokenism and all that. So at the end of the day, the young people, I really understand that for a long time the voter has really been into the bringing of money. You take the money from every other person. But we are moving to a generation where they understand that during the Finance Bill 2024, we didn't give them money for them to stand in solidarity with us when we said the finance bill was a burden to Kenyans. Yeah. So from that perspective, and that is why you've had even principles of parties like Mother Karua saying, any person who is doing politics right now the same way they did it back in 2022 is in the wrong country, because June 25th changed the politics of this nation. And I really hope that the president or the government that is at place can take it into them to make 25th June a national holiday, because we need to celebrate the change that has come, the revolution that came with the Gen Z. Okay. And I also really hope that anybody who is watching us today, this morning, can listen to young leaders without first looking at the problems that you have, because no young person has millions to come solve your personal problems. But if you give them a chance in parliament, they will ensure they create policies, they'll make laws that are going to work your problems.
Okay. Two critical questions come out of this conversation we're having. Will money affect the way the youth will vote in 2027? And has the politics of Kenya changed in any way? Let's come back and discuss that in just a bit. Trevor Mbidi at Citizen TV Kenya. Use the hashtag Monday Report. Joining us after this break is not Monday Report, it's Daybreak. Yeah, that's the fault of doing many shows. Dr. Derek Baraza, Kanu Youth League, will be joining us right after this break. See you shortly.